Well, g'day and welcome to another edition of Chewing the Fat. Today we're down at West Lakes at the Rowing SA headquarters, and I'm joined by a couple of young para-rowers. Potentially could be seeing them competing in the 2020 Paralympics over there in Tokyo. To my left is Will Smith, and to his left is Jed Altschwager. Great to have you on the show, boys.
Yeah, thanks, mate.
Thank you very much.
Now we'll start with you, Jed. You only got into rowing a couple of years ago, tragically through a work accident. Mate, talk to us through your journey so far.
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy journey. Obviously losing my leg a little under 4 years ago, and obviously rehabilitating through that process and sort of coming to the point where I wanted to give a parasport a go, and that was a little over about 2 years ago that I decided to look at rowing, and then set myself some pretty hefty goals and went from there.
Yeah. And you're enjoying it, no doubt?
Yeah, loving it, mate. Yeah. It's an amazing sport to be a part of. It's tough, it's hard, but extremely rewarding, yeah.
And Will, you've obviously, you're involved in rowing for majority of your life.
Several years.
Yes, yep. Yeah. And you've got a visual impairment, which makes your story just even more impressive, as well as Jed's, of course. Talk us through your journey so far.
Yeah, well, it's basically sort of started in terms of rowing. I've sort of been rowing all through school, really. So, going through the school program, having some pretty good coaches. So I've got a I've had a pretty good background. I'm lucky to have been a part of that through school, and then moving sort of when that finished through to para rowing, and basically just becoming a part of Sasi, and it's all sort of really snowballed from there, getting into the national team, and then just looking forward to the World Championships this year.
Yes, we'll get to that in a moment, but you guys won 2 gold medals, which is awesome stuff, over there in the International Regatta in Italy earlier on this year.
Yeah.
Jed, talk to us more about that.
Yeah, that was amazing. So that was literally 3 weeks ago. We sort of, off the back of our domestic season and selection process, we sort of got selected in the men's pair. Well, we got selected in the men's pair. Headed over to Italy there, the European Training Centre we spent 2 weeks at, which is an AIS facility built there in Varese, and we trained there for 2 weeks, and then the regatta was held just near there. And obviously first international competition as a combination. I rode the pair last year at the World Champs with Jimmy, but first international pair combination. So we get along extremely well. So to be able to get over there and kind of see what we've got and see what's going on with racing countries was a really cool experience, and we did quite well. We won 2 gold medals. So
congratulations to both of you on that.
Thanks,
and obviously, as you mentioned before, Austria in August, which is super exciting. Now this potentially could lead to your high chance of going through to Tokyo in 2020. Talk to us through this. You're going to be part of the PR3 men's pairs. Will, talk to us through this.
In terms of the World Championships, we will. So basically, moving in relation to Tokyo, it's so sort of they send a 4 to Tokyo. They don't send the men's pair. So basically, what will happen if we are successful at World Championships, that'll put us in a good stead to be selected for the 4, which will go to Tokyo next year. So that's sort of the aim, and that's basically what we're working towards. But obviously, short term or sort of mid-term is really the goal is to be successful at World Championships, and that's sort of what we're looking forward to now, and basically that's where we're at, and not looking too far into the future, just sort of staying present. That's sort of the way we do it. Yeah. Awesome.
All the best, boys. Well, fingers crossed. Let's hope you can make it through to Tokyo and go well in those World Champs.
Yeah.
Now, what sort of training's involved, boys? You're sort of speaking about this off air, and you do a bit of training overseas, and you're going to be spending a bit of time in Italy before Austria. Is that correct?
Yeah, 3 weeks. Yeah, we'll be there for 3 weeks. It's basically we do a pre-departure camp, probably in Sydney before we go, and then for a week come back to Adelaide for 4 or 5 days, and we head off for a 3-week sort of kind of acclimatation. You get over there, you get over your jet lag, you get back into some good rhythm training, and then you head over to competition. So, and as far as training here in domestic, obviously extremely well supported by Sasi, first and foremost, and really good coaching there with Jace and support there through Christine. I'm very fortunate that we both live in SA. Like, we could have easily not. So my pair partner last year was New South Wales. So for us to both be here, it gives us good, consistent training with a really good program, and to be able to train with basically all the underage. So your under 23s, under 21s, like really kind of breaking into looking to break into the senior team kind of rowers. Able-bodied rowers, we're kind of pitting ourselves against them, and that's the best way to do it. We're rowing up, if you know what I mean, and that's kind of how it's going. So it's going well.
And speaking of able bodies, you're actually involved in the, now let me get this right, the World Championships for the Open 8s earlier on this year for the state champs. The state champs, sorry, not the Worlds. How'd that go, Jed?
Yeah, that went really good, mate. I was standing on this very pontoon actually holding a trophy, which is awesome. So, I mean, for me that was my first able-bodied race, and it was only SA, but you don't want to say too many names because obviously good mates in the other boats, but they, there were some good boats out there, and for us to kind of, Jimmy McRae to come up with the idea to put this 8 together with some schoolboys he'd been coaching, and we came up with the chocolates that day. It was good. Yeah.
Terrific. And,
he was in the other 8.
Was he?
Yeah.
A bit of banter going on there as well. And you're actually involved in the Head of the River for St. Peter's, your old school, in 2017, and you won that. That must have been a bit of a buzz for you.
It was, yeah, it was very good. Obviously, again, we had a very good coach, very good program there down at St. Peter's. So, we were very, we pulled that off well. So we actually won that, and then we went over to Sydney. I think we came third in the under 19 men's 8. So for Australia, so we were a pretty successful crew actually, which was really a cool thing to be a part of. Gives me both ends of the sort of spectrum of like high level able-body rowing and high level power rowing, which is really cool, I think. So
yeah.
And I want to ask you a question as well, Will. I used to play a bit of blind cricket, just filling in for a mate of mine who's also visually impaired. Shout out to Danny Sullivan, and he's an albino as well, which is awesome to meet another albino.
Yeah.
Now, these sort of guys are just incredible. They play cricket with a bell. So I'd just like to ask you, in terms of your rowing, when you're doing the single rowing, obviously when you're in the pairs and the 8s and 4s, you've still got people guiding you where you're going and stuff. But how does it work when you're single?
I've done a bit of singling at school, and it's all right. Like, luckily, sort of, I think I haven't really done much of it, but I think in the racing with singles with sort of para, I think with vision impairment, sort of that class, that sort of what they do is they get a boat and they follow. I think they follow the singles.
Down the track.
And they have like a headset, and basically the person in the boat will tell them, stroke side, bow side, and they'll sort of negotiate staying in the middle of the lane. That's the way they do it. I think I'm mainly in crew boats, so I'm not really familiar with that, but that's the way they do it, which is pretty interesting. Yeah,
that's fascinating.
One of the things that I've picked up, like I was sort of saying before off air, is being around other different para athletes and getting a spectrum of disabilities or abilities, however you want to say it, is one of the things that I really find quite impressive with vision impaired, and a lot of people don't get it. I don't really see it. Is it's not just the training. It's like this guy can't drive himself around, so he's got logistics to worry about probably more than anything. That's kind of number one. It's like how do we get around?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And for other people that I met, other vision impaired athletes, that's almost the number one. It's like they need to get to training first, then they can think about training. And if we're training 6 days a week, 3 times a day, you know what I mean. That's a huge hurdle that probably people don't see in a vision impairment. It's not just kind of on the water or in a training drill, it's the other stuff as well.
Yeah,
that's like Danny, he's visually impaired as well, and has to get buses everywhere in public transport, but it's just amazing how good you guys go, so absolutely utmost respect. What do you guys like to do? We'll start with you, Will. What do you like to do outside of rowing?
Well, I'm a student as well at Adelaide University. I'm doing part-time commerce, so that's good. That sort of keeps me, it's quite good actually. I can sort of use it more so as like you stop the rowing for a bit and you do a bit of something else to break it up. Of course. So it's sort of that's sort of what I do in my pastime, but also catching up with friends, family, getting away to our property is also one of the things I like to do. So basically just studying and rowing.
Awesome. Where's your property?
We've got a place up on York Peninsula, just sort of inland from Black Point.
Oh, lovely.
We head up there like as much as we can, as much as I can with rowing.
Yeah, it's not much.
Not much. Not much, but when I can, I do. So. But that's me.
And Jed, what about yourself?
Yeah, I stay pretty busy. So I've got a family, two little kids. I've got a 2-year-old boy, Wolf, and a 5-month-old girl, Aspen. So obviously my wife, Jess. So that keeps me quite busy. But I guess we'll kind of hit the nail on the head. Rowing is it's like very all-encompassing. If you're sort of locking in, especially the level we're at, that's what you're doing. It's kind of what you do 6 days a week. Every week. So that's kind of what we do to keep, I guess, a little bit sane, catching up with friends and stuff like that. And just, I really enjoy my family time. I'm loving being a dad. So getting to enjoy all that and love cooking Barbies, stuff like that.
All the usual stuff, love it. Yeah. And boys, someone like myself that wouldn't mind getting into a bit of rowing, obviously it's a sport that any age group can get involved. How do you find out more about it, and how can do they have come and try sessions in Adelaide? Or?
Yeah, absolutely. Most of the clubs have come and try, and my club Torrens definitely does, and Adelaide University Boat Club as well do, and that's probably the best way. Get in touch with the club, or even channeled through Rowing SA if you didn't want to approach the club direct through Rowing SA, and then they can channel you to a come and try day. And I mean, it's good fun. I mean, I don't know, depending on if you're a person that's ever enjoyed the water, but just being out there on the water when the sun's coming up or when it's a beautiful conditions. Today was amazing. You get to appreciate, you get that nature sort of hit that I think as human beings we kind of need. So you get that, and then you kind of get the fitness as well. So it's probably one of the most demanding sports if you really want to push it, and that's up to you. But it's a fun sport.
Love it, boys. Just so good to chat to both of you today. And shout out to David Hutton for organising today's interview, to Justin for filming, and Rowing SA, of course, and to you boys. I've just loved chatting to you both today. I wish you all the best over there in Austria, and fingers crossed that you'll be in Tokyo next year representing Australia. Well, thanks so much.
Thank you very
Fresh
much.
Prince of Belair. And Jed Altschwager, thanks guys.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.